speaking to Prof, and at first I said, is this speaking notes that she's been given, or she actually believes what she's saying? And as she went on, I think Prof actually believes that what she's saying is true. In summary, what she said here this morning is that one, the MPP created the problem, and two, the D-Levy, and guess what? Gen Z is calling it devil levy. That the D-Levy is no worse than E-Levy.
They're calling it what?
Devil levy.
Oh.
Now let me say this. If we sit here and make this 1 cedi tax per liter, and it's not 1 cedi that everybody is paying and making it look like it's just 1 cedi, no. It ultimately is almost 4.5 cedis per gallon of fuel. That's what it is. This deliberate attempt to shove 1 cedi narrative on people to make it look like it's a one-time payment, or let's say you are paying 1 cedi a month. It's a very deliberate brainwashing, gaslighting that you guys are doing. And Prof, you are bigger than that. Don't get caught up in it. Now let me just say this. In 2015, when the energy sector levy was first introduced, this was under John Mahama season 1. In 2015, when it was introduced, 2 parliamentarians, including Kwesi Kwarteng, went to court to have it overturned. The court's ruling was that that particular tariff shouldn't be added to the cost of fuel prices.
The price build-up.
Do you remember? This was 2015 under GM1. Now we've come full circle. Ghanaians say, away bus. We are shoving you out of the door because of the things that they said, including not exempting, demonizing E-Levy. Made E-Levy look the worst. E-Levy was limited. E-Levy didn't have a cascading effect as D-Levy. But you made us feel that E-Levy was bad, despite stakeholders' engagements, despite town hall meetings that the then Minister of Information, together with his team, went around regions having dialogues with the public, despite other stakeholders saying that at least give it a threshold, to which then former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia saying that he didn't think that it was something that we had to embrace. But if we're going to do it, then give it a minimum threshold of what, 100 cedis. And do you remember this? There was consultation, there was dialogue, there was an openness about it. People resisted it because of the vociferous nature at which you targeted that particular levy. Now, I'm talking about 2015 because the introduction was to mitigate the cost therein as far as the energy sector was concerned. At the time, it was 20 pesos. It was 20 pesos at the time. 2016, Dumso had become a part of our life. Dumso was debt management, it wasn't capacity. To which you saddled us with 32 contracts. 32 contracts such that, Annie, as we are sitting here, for some reason the lights can't stay on. The owner of the media house says, you know what, we need to fix the problem, have stable lights so that we can always have good content for our viewers. You don't need to have blackouts. So as a result of this, your minister of, your manager in charge of energy here decides that I'm going to acquire 32 generators. And you say, oh, but as far as our capacity consumption is concerned, maybe we need just about 3 or 4 more. But they do 32. Guess what? The 32 is a contract that no matter what you are doing or consuming, you have to pay. That was how the energy sector debt ballooned to $2.5 billion when you were leaving office. That is fact. Now, when we came into power in 2017, the World Bank, together with government, sat down and developed a repayment plan. Because World Bank said, guys, yes, you had Dumso. Yes, the previous government was desperate. Yes, they've saddled you with debts that is going to really knock off your economic recovery. But guess what? If we stick to the payment schedule that the contract that they've signed, you're going to be paying close to $12.5 billion within 6 years. So from 2.5 billion, that was the legacy debt they saddled us with. The experts, World Bank, government sat down and said, let's mitigate it so that we reduce that 12.5, okay, that you ultimately pay. And guess what? In the last 8 years, even as at 2020, I was looking for that data here. When we got to 2022, even despite the prices, there was, yes, I'm looking for it here. Direct transfers to government was projected to be 17.8 billion. But during the mid-year review, the projected half-year projection of 2.8 billion turned out as 10.6 billion. So even though the plan was to make 2.8, they actually recovered 10.6 without increasing tariffs to 59%. There was 59% increase in tariffs in 2015, ECG. Do you remember? 8 years that Akosua was in government, we never saw an increase in tariff beyond those high levels.
Why?
Oh, first of all, we are talking about debt management. You are managing it. Subsequently, you are meeting the demands, so you are not burdened, you are not pushed to force extra taxes on the consumers. Even 2022, I remember now the Minister of Energy, John Jinapo, saying that pushing taxes to consumers was unforgivable given the times we're in. Do you understand? This is what he said. And now he is in government.
Given the times we're in.
He said, well, he wasn't given the times when he just said that it was ridiculous to do it. But guess what? Annie, at least, if we'll be honest, in the first 6 years of Akosua-Ado's administration, inflation was good. Taxes, we had abolished taxes. We hadn't introduced taxes till we had COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine war. You know this. It was a challenge that we didn't love. But even if you mock it here, when you cross the boundaries of Ghana and you go and have conversations at Chatham House, you admit that COVID-19 had its impact. When you go and sit at conferences, now your ministers, they go and sit and they highlight the challenges that Ghana faced at the time. This morning, I'm shocked to hear Prof say that we caused a problem. You left it at 2.5 billion in 2016. We came to power and managed it, serviced the debts. Now you have to find a way to keep paying the debt. What the real issue is that
what's our current debt?
Current debt. They put it at 3.1 billion.
It is.
Or
you don't believe it?
No, I'm just saying that even if you are saying that you are putting at 3.1 billion, the legacy debts have been reduced considerably. It could have been, that's what I'm saying, and if we had left it to what they had put there, if you are saying I'm lying, it's the World Bank line, it would have gone to 12.5 billion. Then what would they have done? Now, in the price build-up.
Because our problem with the energy sector, and it's factual.
Look, the problem
is the fact that
is reforms.
We were able
there
to manage. I'm sorry, they were able to manage the power fluctuation because we were not paying our debts.
That's not true. If you say that, it was, if you are coming back to the conversation of Doomso is back because you are not paying our debts, then I have a challenge with that. Because when they came to sit in front of us and put the budget in front of us, was that conversation had?
So because the conversation was not had.
How do you do a budget for a year and come and sit down 3 months later under the cover of darkness?
Let's tackle.
You introduce
let's tackle that issue because there's been, the backlash now is because stakeholders are saying we were not consulted. In fact, I've spoken to a couple of committee members asking how come we didn't hear anything about this, and it was just suddenly, introduced.
But you're not surprised.
And that is like I'm saying, that's a conversation that we can have, but it doesn't take away the facts of what really the problem was. If you read here in this document published by Joe, it says that due to non-payment of bills owed to Eni and Car Power, the World Bank International Development Association guarantee of 512 million United States dollars and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation guarantee of 120 million US dollars were completely drawn down.
Please, let me give you an answer. Your energy minister is saying that the one cedi.
My energy minister.
Our energy minister. And I hate to say, the one cedi irritates me because it's 4.5 cedis per gallon. That is what it is. The 4.5 cedis per gallon, as you buy more gallons, you pay more taxes on it. The limitation that she made in ring fencing the tax to make it look like it was one cedi across is disingenuous and is dishonest. That's why I'm saying that as a professor, she has to ensure that she sticks to the facts. At least E-Levy had a threshold. The challenge with this, if indeed is a debt that we are supposed to pay, do you understand what I'm saying? If it's debts that we are supposed to pay, there's no sunset clause. Annie, to say that, oh, we are projecting that within 5 years, it will knock off the debts and will take the burden off the Ghanaian. There's no such thing.
But we've projected how much to raise within the year.
But there's no end in sight. Give us an end in sight that if you've made your calculation, then
That
tell us
in
that
six-
by
Well, I've heard, it wasn't a sunset clause, but it was a projection that in about 6 years, we will be able to clear the debts.
Listen, I'm saying that these people, the settings governments that we have now, 2015, they did same. There's no innovation in this. It's let's just throw it at them and let's do it early enough because we have goodwill and the people won't complain. Today, I was listening to a radio. At stations, some have increased prices. And their unions are saying that when we are increasing prices, it has to be a consensus that this is how we are increasing. You can't increase and others will keep the prices the same. It's chaos. Beyond transport fares, it's on gas as well. People cook. We are transitioning to clean energy. You are forcing people to use other options to reduce cost. So I'm asking you that if you think that E-Levy is what you are saying, then you have no idea what D-Levy is, because it's goods and services ultimately is inflation. You told us that you know this thing of, oh, the fuel prices were down. You have nothing to do with the price of fuel now because the world price has reduced. In the event world prices go up, what are we going to see happening? It's going to impact on the economy once again. So just be
But
honest.
that's why she said that if your city is strong, you might be able to.
No, she gave it accolades as if they had engineered the pricing of fuel to come at 12 cedis. But she knows that when it goes up, there'll be a challenge. Secondly, why do you introduce something, fast track it on a public holiday, and spin so much PR around it, when you couldn't even stomach the idea that E-Levy was a conversation, even down to Parliament? The conversation was had there. You forced Ghanaians to believe that it was the worst thing ever. To the point where we saw parliamentarians, some of them are our friends, holding each other off in a way that was so embarrassing. I have friends across Africa. People were sending me the link. Hey, Ghana.
In the E-Levy fight. Can we have that video?
Ghana. I worked at NYA. We went for conferences within Africa. And one of the things that when Ghana is mentioned, people look at us with pride. So, the Kwame Nkrumah people, they'll say free SHS, they knew the policies that we had implemented.
They said free SHS.
Oh, yes.
On the international front.
Yes.
Hey.
But in the last 8 years, presidents of Senegal, there were at least 3 heads of states who came to Ghana, and they were interested in what we were doing as far as free SHS was concerned. Our former education minister went to Kenya to even the consultant. Educhum. So you can mock it, but Africa's biggest challenge also has to be with education. Educate the populace and things will improve. But when we are educating people, you can't. As I'm saying, she wears the tag of a professor, come to tell us that we caused the problem. When you started the problem as far back as 2015, introducing that tariff, now you've padded it and made it more. 95 pesos was the build-up tax in the cost of fuel. Now it's you are saying 1 cedi. 1 cedi to a liter. It's not 1 cedi per month. It's not 1 cedi per day.
But if you introduce, if you increase export prices, you actually calculate it by the liter, not by a gallon, not by a month, not by a year.
Yes, I'm saying that they have made the conversation such that it's a 1 cedi one-off.
A liter.
No.
And that is how we actually
I'm
communicate
saying
fuel
that, I'm
prices
telling you that
increase.
maybe you are saying that here. I'm saying that across board, there's a deliberate attempt to make it look like it's just one cedi that people are paying. And it's not true. It's actually 95 pesos was on a tax build-up already. One has been added to, it's almost 2 cedis on a liter. That is the actual tax on a liter. That's what you have to understand. So you are saying that you are adding 1 cedi. That's what it should be. But the actual tax on it is almost 2 cedis. And it is not limited. It has a cascading effect on goods and services and ultimately inflation. So if we are going to sit here and be comfortable that somebody snuck a tariff at midnight, they've literally held a gun to our heads. We woke up in the morning and saying that everybody has to pay. And it's all, and you know the worst of it, Annie, nobody has apologized. Not the rank and file of the NDC, not the chairman,
Let me ask you this
not
question.
the president.
Let me ask you this question.
Nobody has said that in
did you
4
hold
months ago, 4 months ago, when the finance minister spoke about not increasing energy tariffs, what he said at his vetting, he has subsequently reneged on that, and they've introduced this ruthless tax.